Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So one of my really good friends messaged me the other week asking if she could request a YouTube video. She's just started doing Vinyasa flow yoga and she wants to do a little bit more practice at home, but she just wants to know that she's doing it right, so that her technique and her alignment and her foundations are all correct before she kind of rushes into it. So I'm sure, probably like many of us, I know when I first started yoga, the first time I did it at home, I was a bit like, where do my arms go? Where do my legs go? And it's quite hard to know when if you're doing it correctly, if you're quite new to it and you haven't got a teacher there. So today I'm going to talk you through a sun salutation A and a sun salutation B, just talking about your alignment and the basics, so that then the next time you're doing it at home, or even when you go to class, you can impress your teacher with having everything in line. I'd like to just apologise, I'm in my dining room and it is like the most echoey room in the house. But as you can see, it's my little makeshift studio, so we just have to deal with it. Okay, so let's get on with it. So starting at the top of your mat, many yoga teachers will say the very top of your mat. Personally, we're going to be putting our hands down. So if your feet are here, your hands are going to be on the floor in front of you. So I like to take a little step back and maybe start around here. So starting in Tadasana, which is mountain pose. And really, this is where we kind of center ourselves and set ourselves up for the practice. So we really want to find our center, so lifting up the toes, really spreading through each toe, powering through the legs, lengthening through the fingers, having nice soft ribs drawing up through the lower belly, and nice shoulders coming across here, softening down. And our gaze just out in front of us. So sweeping the arms up on the inhale. That didn't work so well because I'm at my wall. But sweeping the arms up, you can come forward, you can come sideways, up to you, but just making sure that we're not punching the shoulders as we come up. So we want to keep nice length between our earlobes and our shoulders here. And then on the exhale, folding over the legs to the mat. So obviously when I'm quite a flexible person, I have quite flexible hamstrings. It's taken me a while to get that way. And to start with, I think it's always nice to keep a nice bend in the knees when we do this. So coming down, and especially on your first one, take it really deep. Okay, take a nice deep bend, even so that your torso is on top of your legs. And then inhale as we come up to, what some people call flat back. It's fine. It's all about lengthening, so making sure that your spine the whole way is lengthened through the crown of your head, and you're just taking your gaze out in front of you. You'll see a lot of this, and all that's doing is shortening the line of the neck, and really isn't great for us. So just coming up here, we can take hands to shins, again, if you haven't got that flexibility. And then exhaling, stepping or jumping back into our high plank. So again, making sure that our wrist, elbow and shoulder is nicely stacked. And then we have the option here, which you should always be given in a class. So either you can come down to your knees, and another thing that you'll hear a lot is knees, chest and chin. Personally, purely a personal thing, I prefer to come down to knees and then lower all together. The nice thing about that is that rather than coming down, knees, chest, chin, and coming through, you're using your arms, so you're building up for full chaturanga. So you've come down onto your knees, and then we're lowering with the elbows tucked in the whole time, lower belly engaged, and then untucking the toes. And then inhaling, I like to roll my shoulders here, so giving them a little roll so I feel that they're coming back. Now, either again, we can go to low cobra, taking the hands off, testing the balance, high cobra, keeping the elbows bent, everything tucked in, drawing up through the lower belly, or coming in to upward facing dog. So your options are all there. I think it's a lot easier to come into upward facing dog if you've done full chaturanga. So entirely up to you though, whatever feels comfortable. Just be really aware of your lower back in these postures. If you do have lower back pain, then when you come down to the floor, just take your legs, separate your feet a little bit, and then when you push up, there won't be as much pressure in the lower back. And now we're going to push back, tuck the toes under, or roll over the toes if you're in upward facing dog, and we're coming to our downward facing dog. So just a little word about downward facing dog. Your length, it's always quite hard to know where the length of your feet to your hands should be. So a good gauge is to roll over into high plank, and then just so wherever you are here, wherever you're kind of stacking over your wrists and your feet are, just push back, and that there is about where you need to be. And again, taking a nice deep bend, because what this is all about is lengthening the spine and the neck. And that's really the most important thing in yoga. Our spine is the key. So as much as whenever we go into a posture, we're looking at the foundations, so the parts of our body connected to the floor. So in downward facing dog, we'd be looking at spreading through the hands, really grounding into the mat, and then really grounding and rooting into the mat through the toes as well, aiming to get the heels down. We want to be nice little bend in the knees, sort of outwardly rotating at the shoulders, and having the insides of the elbows looking at each other here. With a micro bend in the elbows as well, feels quite nice and helps you really push that bottom up to the sky. Okay. And so then in your home practice, sun salutation A, you'd hold your downward facing dog there for about 5 deep breaths. And then just step or jump the feet forward. If you're stepping, do the same leg as you did on the way back out. Inhaling as you're coming up to your flat back. And exhaling again over the legs. Inhale as we come up, and exhaling down by our side, ready to go through it again. So that was the sun salutation A. You've got all of your basics there. What I would say is to always think of, like I was saying, your foundation, so your hands and your feet, the parts of your body that are rooting down into your mat. And the majority of the time, if you can get those right, then the rest of your body will kind of fall into place. So we'll go through a sun salutation B and see how we get on. Preparing into Tadasana, drawing up through the lower belly, really grounding through the toes, pulling down the fingers, and drawing up through the crown of the head. And we'll sweep the arms up as we sit back into Utkatasana. So this is our powerful pose. So the nice thing is that here we don't really hold it for one breath. So we inhale as we come up. If you find that the shoulders hunch as you're coming up, just drop them down. Drop them to where you feel they're softening. Because ultimately that's the posture that we want. We want the soft shoulders, the drawing up through the lower belly. And if we're all tight up here, then we're not getting the real kind of feel of the posture. So from here, again, dropping down over the legs, taking a nice bend if you like. Inhaling, hands to shins. Exhaling, stepping or jumping back. I will take the jump this time. And as we exhale, so rather than taking I've not done a good hairstyle here for this. So rather than taking our knees down this time, we're going to go through a full Chaturanga Dandasana. So into our high plank. Now, what's nice is to roll forward over the toes, then lower down. And you only need to come to about here, and then power through the arms, coming up into our upward facing dog. Now, if you're not quite there yet, it's absolutely fine to lower the knees down. I think in a lot of yoga classes, obviously in your home practice, it's a lot easier, you kind of feel more comfortable doing what you feel comfortable with. But in yoga classes, when you've got someone really experienced either side of you, sometimes you sort of do feel the pressure to do what they're doing. But I think with that posture, it is hard.
there's no denying it. I mean, okay, so it's in our Sun Salutation A, which is a part of the primary series, but there's no denying that it's tough and it takes a lot of work. So even when you're at home, if you're not quite there to lowering fully down, why not come down to your knees and just do a few little press-ups like this. And then that will help strengthen you for when you're ready to go to the full section. Right, so now I'm lost. We are Sun Salutation B. We have come all the way down. We are into our upward facing dog. We're rolling over the toes, downward facing dog. And then on the inhale, we'll turn the left foot out 45 degrees and then step the right foot through. So again, what I was talking about with the Sun Salutation A, check your foundations. So you want your hips to be aligned. And naturally in the posture, your arms come up to the sky. In my first one, I always take my hands to my hips and I check that my hip bones are facing forward. You want your knee to be pressing outwards so that you can see your toes. And then we lift the arms up. Again, trying not to hunch the shoulders, keeping the shoulders soft, the belly drawn in, and breathe. And then releasing down to the floor, stepping back, coming down whichever way you would like to, inhaling up, exhaling over the toes as we come back, and then repeating Warrior One on the second side. So Virabhadrasana A on the left leg. Again, taking the hands to the hips, making sure that we are in line, and reaching upwards. And really, what you want to look for here is pushing down into the outside of the back foot and lifting through the inside arches. So I can see my toes, I know I'm in line, reaching my arms up, taking my gaze up, and then releasing. Stepping back, lowering down, inhaling, exhaling, and then staying here for another 5 breaths. And then we either step or jump our feet back to our hands, lifting up, exhaling over the knees, and then sweeping the arms up again to Utkatasana, and exhaling down by the side. So hopefully that has been interesting for you. You've maybe learned something, which is always good. Any questions or anything, I have got more videos planned, which will be coming over the next few weeks or months. If you have anything that you would like me to talk you through and show you, then do let me know and we will do it. If you like this, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, don't give it a thumbs down. Just don't do anything. Just be like, oh, whatever, cat, wasn't for me. All the information, what I'm wearing, my mat, my camera, all of that links are below, and I will see you soon. Bye.